Hello and welcome to the Online Strength Coach podcast. Now will be known as the Cast Iron Strength podcast. Episode 118. The 10 things I wish I knew before I started lifting. I just went ahead and stolen this topic off Claire Tracy, who posted something in the Origin and Power Facebook private group. And I thought it was she wrote a nice little list, pretty good. I might post it along with the show notes on this whenever I get around to posting the 28 episodes that need to go up on the SoundCloud account. Also, within the next week, I will be getting a professional intro recorded. I'm sure you're all super excited about that. And I'm also going to be looking to put them onto iTunes. I think one of the reasons why the initial posting of the podcast didn't work on iTunes was because way back last year when I started the podcast, I got the idea that I wanted to start playing music. And before I started talking into the microphone, that's because I just bought a Sonos and I thought it would be a good usage of it. And I think that's the reason, because it's all copyrighted material, obviously, which I don't have the license for. And that's why it hasn't appeared on iTunes yet, which is kind of annoying because that's the major platform that most people get this stuff. Okay, so I've got a list of 10. I'll do a bit of commentary around it. I'm hoping it's going to last around 10 to 15 minutes because I've got to get master the gym to get my train on. Number 1, you don't know everything. In fact, you know fuck all. When I started training, I was a huge know-it-all. It's one of my biggest character flaws, and also it's a character strength too, is that I was supremely self-confident at one stage. A bit more, life has weathered that somewhat, but I'm still fairly self-confident. I said, yeah, reasonably self-confident, but also arrogant to go with it. So I thought, at one stage because I was doing a PE GCSE that I knew a lot about training, utterly ridiculous. Hadn't lifted a weight before in my life, but wouldn't take advice from my friends who had been lifting for 2 or 3 years and had got results. They knew a lot more than me, but I wasn't willing to take on that advice, and I kind of was pig-headed, did my own thing. And as a result, didn't really get out what I could have got out of my first 4 years of lifting. It was only really till I started the Strength Conditioning Masters and started training under Neil Crosby, who was more stubborn than I, that I started to actually listen to what someone was saying, because he was in a position where he had something that I wanted, which is the ability to give me some kind of job or some kind of end into strength and conditioning. So I had to bite my tongue and just basically get on with it, which was one of the best learning experiences, one of the best developmental things I've ever done, was just to fuck up and let someone else write my training and do my training for me. So that was an eye-opening experience, and definitely something that I think a lot of guys, especially a lot of talented, stronger guys, are definitely guilty of. They think their way is the way. Or that they know this amount, so they know what they're doing. Not the case. So be more humble, basically, is what I'm trying to say when you start lifting. That was a big mistake in my first 3 or 4 years. And number 2, technique is the most important thing you will ever learn as a lifter. Cannot overstate the importance of being able to move correctly in whatever the sport it is, but especially within lifting. If you don't utilize the correct movement, the correct joints, the correct muscles, in the correct sequence, and you're just going to end up injured. 1, you will be weaker than you actually are. You won't be able to lift what you should be able to lift because your technique is inefficient. And 2, you will get hurt. A lot of the lifters who lift heavy weights with shit technique, not naming names, are all broken as fuck. You're going to break down as a lifter, but not to the extent that some people do, or have done, or are. It's not that injurious a sport, especially if it's done at an appropriate pace with the correct form and technique. It's actually a very low injury sport, much lower than things like rugby, football, netball, whatever you have. So technique overload all day, every day, unless it's the platform, then it's load over everything, so you gotta win. Number 3, sleep and nutrition matter. Sleep is by far your most important recovery tool. Trust me, whenever you get into a position where you're not able to sleep as much as you normally do, or you get inadequate amounts of sleep, you will fucking know about it. Of that, I can guarantee you. And nutrition, calories, protein, actually knowing what you're putting into yourself, knowing what the calorie content, the macronutrient content of what you're eating and what you're doing, that was only something I really started paying attention to in probably 2005. So I'd been lifting for about 2-3 years by that stage. And it was such an eye-opener when I actually discovered that there was nutrition, just something stupid like there was nutrition content at the back of a packet. I used to think just because I trained I could eat whatever I wanted, which was true when you're 15, metabolism is going mad. You're playing 20 hours of sport and you're lifting weights. You could pretty much eat whatever the fuck you want. Not so true when you're not playing 20 hours of sport, you're drinking beer, and you're maybe lifting weights 2 or 3 times a week. You can't eat whatever you want. So that was a big thing for me. In second year university, kind of discovering that was a thing you could do. That was very liberating and definitely something. If you've never counted calories, you've never tracked your food, you've never done that process, something you should definitely do. It's hugely empowering to know that if you want to get leaner, you can. It's just it's a process that you need to do consistently that you can do. And it's a multi-million-pound industry or multi-billion-pound industry for that reason, because it's such a huge impact in such a impactful thing in people's lives, especially those that don't really know how or understand that it's actually something you can control to the letter. Number 4, speak to everyone in the weights room. A lot of people are quite cowed in the weights room. Girls especially are scared to come into the free weights room because it's some kind of big scary place. It's not a scary place, it's just a fucking gym. It's got squat racks, bars, plates. It's just another exercise space. It's just typically male dominated, but it's only scary if you're scared of it. So just get the fuck in there. And as soon as you start speaking to people, you'll realize, yes, someone's like a big meathead or they're muscly or lifting a lot of weight. They're just a person, just like you. So speaking to people in the weights room is good. It helps to build up a rapport within the gym as well. The more people talk to each other, it can get kind of annoying if people are fucking talking loads rather than lifting. But that's why God invented headphones. So yeah, speak to people in the weights room. Don't just like awkwardly mire someone's lifting strong weights or someone's doing this. Just go up, say hello, chat to people. Don't be annoying, but you know, that's up to you to not be a social retard. I can't really help you with that. Number 5, sometimes the strongest people are morons. We get that advice on T-Nation and Elite FTS, and generally it's reasonably sound advice. Go and speak to the strongest guy in the room. That guy over there squatting 320 kilos for 5. Go and speak to him. Yeah, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get some good advice, no doubt. You will get some good advice. They've not got to there for no reason. But also be cognizant or be wary that you get a lot of shit advice as well. They're not a coach. They're not professionally. This is not what they do. So they will give you some advice maybe on technique or some advice on diet or some advice on programming that might have worked for them in their scenario, but might be one of the worst ideas you've ever had for you as a lifter, depending on what that advice, that technique advice, or that form advice, or that programming advice is. Just have that in the back of your mind. Be a bit critical about talking to people, which leads us on to the next thing. Sometimes the smartest people you talk to are morons. There's a lot of people I know talk to who are super into training. They want to get into, if I talk to them, we want to get into the fine detail of programming, like intensity, relative intensity, this variable, that variable. They discuss something like occlusion training to death. They'll talk about what's the latest in the sports science or strength conditioning research. What are the implications of the study? What's the implications of that study? Yet they are fucking shite at lifting. This is a red flag. If you're talking to someone, that's not to say the people that are shit at lifting aren't good. Like, some of the best coaches, the best coach in the world, literally doesn't even lift. So that's not to say that. But if you're talking to someone who is evidently intelligent and evidently reads a lot in the area, or obviously seems like they read a lot in the area, I always think, what's this person's experience? Have they coached any lifters who are good? Are they a good lifter? Because at the end of the day, it's a vocation. This is not a theoretical pursuit lifting shit. You're not going to think 600 pounds up off the floor. You're not going to squat 600 pounds by thinking about how you're going to squat it. You got to get under the fucking weight. You got to do it. So you have to have a bit of a balance, I think, anyway. It's all very well and good having the theoretical knowledge, but without the practical knowledge, the pragmatic knowledge to back up that theory, it's pretty much a waste of fucking time. So also, be a little bit critical about who you talk to. Think for yourself. Don't just because this guy's super smart, or this guy's super strong, or this girl's super strong, or this girl's super smart. Don't take everything they say as writ. Think for yourself, basically. One of the most important skills you can have in any aspect in life. Pay attention to your training volume. This is one thing I trained for so long without really... I thought volume was a workout thing. I thought it was 3x10, that's high volume. No, it's not. It's 30 fucking reps in a week. That is, at best, moderate. That's the low end. That's a low training volume. I thought that one set to failure was enough to get stronger. It was, to some extent. Now it's enough to peak out and get hurt. So training volume. If I had to pick out, someone's like, pick out one training variable that is the most important training variable. It's got to be training volume, first and foremost for strength training. It has to be. That's your number one. Everything you do feeds off volume. Any intensification you do is going to feed off your volume. So you got to have the volume. So yeah, think about your volume. Track your volume ideally, and track it in all three exercises. This is where things like apps and stuff come in handy. They're a good idea. Or even Excel. That's what they use in rugby. Works pretty good. Number 8, never be a one-trick programming pony. This is another one. So this is kind of counteract number 7. Yes, one way of programming works for you. Yes, this program works really well. I used 5-3-1 and got really good gains for 4 weeks. For 4 blocks. I'm going to run that motherfucker into the ground. Read around, have a look, understand that all programs are just a way of manipulating training variables. That's all they are. There's nothing special about Juggernaut method. There's fuck all special about Shiko's routines. There's fuck all special about Smolov. There's fuck all special about 5-3-1. They're just different ways of manipulating variables. Some are more intelligent, better put together. Like if you get a mesocycle put together by Boris Shiko, I would hazard a guess that it's probably better put together than one that's put together by Jim Wendler. It's not a slight on Jim Wendler. It's just Boris Shiko is the best coach in the world. So, in my opinion, so his training cycles are going to be better thought out and probably more useful. It's not to say they're more effective or less effective. It just, again, it comes back to thinking about what you're doing, why you're doing it. Are you just doing 5-3-1 because you pick it up off the internet? Are you just doing strong lifts because you found it on the internet? Probably. The first program you find on the internet is not the best program, potentially, I would think. It's like popular music. Just because lots of people like it doesn't mean it's any good. Number 9, warming up is important, but it's not fucking rocket science. Kelly Starlitz has done more to complicate getting warm than anyone else in the history of training. So many people now have all these little stretches, they do all these little band things, they got the balls, they have the ex-wife, they have this, they have that, the other thing. It's nice that we have these tools now. It's good that we can have a stretch. We have a better stretch literacy. I now have a better stretch literacy. I now have a better tool case if someone has a tight knee. Or, for instance, one of the girls in the novice ladies group has a sore knee on the outside. If you tried foam rolling the outside of your ITV, all of a sudden the sore knee goes away. So it's a good thing on some respects. But the kind of negative part of it is that people spend more time fucking warming up now than they do lifting. It's absolutely obscene. It doesn't take long to get warm for lifting. Just fucking lift the bar for a few reps. Do a bit of stretching, lift 60, do a bit of stretching, lift 100, do a bit of stretching. Do that up until you get to a meaningful weight, and then just start fucking lifting. It's literally that. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. You don't need to spend £100 on some fucking book. You don't need to watch 3 hours of someone contorting themselves on YouTube. Just, warm up. It's not hard. People like to make it hard. This is really not. Number 10. have a laugh, and don't hang around negative cunts. These are important things. So never be, obviously some people like to be serious when they're training. Just fine if you're doing a heavy set, or you need to get in the zone and that's your thing. That's fine. But it doesn't mean you can be a cunt during an entire session. Or ultimately, if you're going to have training partners and you're going to train with people, you're going to be training with them for an elongated period of time. Typically, they're going to be mates. The people I started training with in Edinburgh University Gym, I'm living with one now. I keep in daily contact with one. They are my mates. They're my friends. So you cannot remain super serious with these people all the time. You need to have a laugh. You need to be able to have a bit of fun, have a bit of patter, have a bit of banter, have a bit of crack, however you want to put it across. But at the same token, do not hang around negative people. Negative people in powerlifting or negative people in training will suck the fucking life from you. Do not associate with them. I don't give a fuck how good of a mate you think they are. If they're constantly whining about their problems, oh, I'm sore, my back's sore, oh, training's going really bad, blah, 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 negative, sap, 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 whine. They will drag you down with them. And that's not somewhere you want to be. Powerlifting is fucking, it's negative enough as it is. Weights are going to fuck you up. There's going to be shit sessions, and there are going to be lots of shit sessions in your time as a powerlifter. So if you got that whining motherfucker in your group, maybe it might be time to annex them from your group. If, you're being selfish, which I think you should be. But, that's my perspective. Thanks very much for listening. I've been Mark, obviously. Hopefully you can listen to this on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast sometime in the near future. I literally have been saying this for a year. I'm going to follow through now because I literally have no fucking excuse. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'd like some questions. If you want to leave a comment below on YouTube, send me a DM on Instagram, send me a message on Facebook, send me an email, speedpowerperformance@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll catch you again in episode 119 of the Cast Iron Strength podcast, or the Cast Iron Strength Coach podcast, or the Strength Coach podcast. Fuck those. I need to rename this bitch anyway. Thank you very much for listening. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.